What up? What up? Welcome back to Shoot, Punch, Kick, the podcast where three small town sheriffs from Brooklyn uncover a global conspiracy while talking about violent movies from the 80s and 90s. I'm Dash, joined as always by Carlos and Telly. What's going on, my fellas?
What's going on, brethren?
It's hot. It's hot like Predator 2.
Heat wave.
And we're in town with some time to kill.
Damn straight. I like that background of yours, Carlos. That's
thanks,
how I like to remember Predator 2.
I think it's kind of funny too, because if you look, he's like on a building, but he's not like at the tallest building in the city.
Well,
which I think
then
is
you need a backdrop.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's a great. Well, no, the sky, right? The moon, right? It works for Batman.
Well, time
I
to
just
kill.
think
I think they were going for the pun, and they have the clock behind him, right?
Well, I think that him being on the like sixth tallest building in LA is an analog for the movie itself.
Okay,
so we can get to that as we move forward.
Let's do it. So today, as you can tell, we're sweating our asses off discussing the 1990s sci-fi action movie Predator 2, directed by Stephen Hopkins, starring Danny Glover and Gary Busey. Okay, Busey face. What's everybody's personal histories with this? That was my favorite part. He's like, all right, Busey face. I had to get that in the pod early. What's everybody's histories with this film, but also just the Predator franchise in general? Carlos, what do you got?
So I've been Predator obsessed. I think we can all say we've all been pretty much Predator obsessed since Predator came out. I mean, I very clearly remember going to the theaters to see the first Predator film. And I don't know, I must have been 7, like talking about like core early memories. And so, I mean, I love anything Predator, even though the output hasn't necessarily been the best over the years. I think it's one of those concepts that appeals to me a lot more than a lot of the execution. Having said that, for Predator 2, I know that I saw this. Mm-hmm. I know that because it's just been something in my head that I've always known that I've seen Predator 2, and I remembered some of the specific scenes, but I could not remember a single time of actually watching this movie. I can't point out a single time in my life when I could say I saw that, except for the pod. So, I mean, again, it's kind of one of those, I've seen it before, I'm familiar with it, but basically watching it for the first time.
Have you seen all of the franchise? Like,
yeah,
all the movies at least.
Yes, every single movie,
one,
even the animated one, which I thought was fantastic, actually. Mm-hmm. But yeah, anything Predator. I've read comics. I've always loved Predator.
Sick. What about you, Tyler?
Loved the first movie. Saw it on VHS as a kid. I was just like blown away by the all the genre mashing it did, which like it was the first time I saw something like that. Predator 2, I also saw on VHS, and I remember really enjoying it. And some of those scenes just always stuck in my head, especially like the final chase sequence with fucking Danny Glover running through apartment buildings with the Predator chasing him and stuff, or vice versa. Seen every live action Predator movie, and it's been obviously diminishing returns. I wasn't as crazy about Prey as other people were, because I think the beauty of the first movie was you didn't know what the hell it looked like, and there was that reveal, right? And you can't do that in the subsequent movies, even though they do for some reason. They still hide the Predator. It was interesting rewatching it again. The Predator 2, that is.
Sick. Yeah, I don't remember. I know I've seen Predator 2 because I remember a bunch of my friends. One kid loved Predator 2, and he used to always do like, "Want some candy?" And then from that, so that was the only part I remembered. So this was basically a first time watch for me. I mean, seen Predator 1 a billion times. Alien vs Predator. I didn't see the new animated one, and I didn't see Shane Black's The Predator, but I saw all the other ones. And yeah, like it's been kind of a slope down, but I did enjoy. I was one of the people that enjoyed Prey, so it was good.
You should definitely watch the animated one, man. The animated one is sick. It's one of those like 3 separate stories that all come together. The animation style is really dope.
It's a movie or a series?
It's a watch. It's a movie. It's one movie, but it's got like 3 separate stories, and then kind of in the end, they all kind of come together. Yeah, it was great. I think probably some of the best Predator content that we've gotten in a long time.
Wow, dope. So Pulp Fiction with Predator.
Yeah, kind of, sort of.
Sick. All right, so we're gonna go to our Chat GPT AI overlords for a plot synopsis of the movie and see what we're talking about. Predator 2 shifts the alien hunter action from the jungle to the urban sprawl of Los Angeles. Set in a near future of 1997 during a heat wave and a gang war, the film follows tough LAPD detective Mike Harrigan, played by Danny Glover, as he investigates a series of brutal murders. He soon discovers that the killer is not human, but an alien predator who has come to the city to hunt armed and dangerous humans for sport. As Harrigan gets closer to the truth, he clashes with a secretive government task force led by Special Agent Keyes, played by Gary Busey, who's trying to capture the predator. Ultimately, Harrigan confronts the creature in a final showdown, taking the flight into the predator's own hunting grounds. The film expands the predator mythology and introduces the idea that these aliens have been hunting on Earth for centuries. Pretty vague, but
yeah.
They
Well,
forgot to mention that
finale
Danny
wasn't at
Glover's
the Predator's hunting grounds, so I would just say my only issue there.
I mean, yeah, no mention of Danny Glover being too old for this shit. Which, by the way, Danny Glover in this movie is younger than any of us are right now.
Crazy.
Yeah, he was
Not
only like 40 in like Lethal Weapon,
so when did they retire?
I don't know. You would think he was like 60 years old. I don't know if he's playing older. I gotta revisit that. Yeah.
Yeah, but I guess it makes sense because what do you have, like kids? They were like fairly young, so I mean, I guess
by the time
he
gets to like 3, I think one of them is like kind of flirting with Riggs.
Yeah.
That was a whole like subplot in the third one, which is a little weird.
He's like, I'm really, really too old for this. Predator 2 came out November 21st, 1990. It opened up at number 4 behind Home Alone, 3 Men and a Little Lady, and Dances with Wolves. But it beat
lost
Rocky
to the
5.
sequel.
Well, I mean, yeah, I don't know if
Rocky
they came
5.
out. What was that?
It should have beat Rocky 5. Rocky 5 was the third.
Yeah, but Rocky 5 was probably already out for a while, so
fair enough.
That might not be too much of an achievement.
Yeah.
So, what was everybody's initial reactions on this rewatch? Carlos, what'd you think?
Oh man! Again, I think I'm gonna kind of give anything Predator related a bit of rose tinted glasses. I don't think this movie holds up very well. I think for me, it seemed like it was a movie that had a lot of really great ideas that suffered greatly from either budget or execution. So like I like a lot of the things that it introduces, the new weapons. I like some of the lore elements it brings in, but like minute to minute as a movie, it really did not deliver for me. And I think it seemed like, watching it a few times now, it feels like probably a lot of the reason for that was I think they were trying to save budget. They got a really great cast, and I don't know if they blew their entire budget on the talent, but they seem to be doing a lot of telling and not showing in this movie, and that was a big problem I had with it. And also there's a couple of logical leaks we can get into later, but it was tough, man. And it's a shame because I really wanted to love this movie more.
Sally, what about you?
First time I saw it, I loved it for just being fun and dumb. And rewatching it this time around for the pod, it just feels very Danny Glover doesn't hold up. He's a very bad action lead, and I liked him the first time I saw it, but he just felt like he was out of his depth. And the direction is just all over the place. The story is all over the place. The script is all over the place. There's too many characters coming in and out. I totally forgot Bill Paxton was in the movie. I wish he was in the movie more.
Robert Davi, I forgot about.
Robert Davi, Morton Downey Jr. For those who remember him,
the first from Jerry Springer.
Yeah, just like there's, it's overstuffed, and you just kind of don't know what the point is. When I was a kid, I remember loving it for the gore and the violence and everything, but just now it just feels like it's just a bunch of random scenes, and also that finale, the chase and stuff. I thought that was like the entire third act of the movie in my memory, but it's only a couple of minutes and it just ends and the movie's over. Although you had that awesome kind of thing when you were 14 years old, that ending with the trophy, the alien trophy,
the xenomorph
in the spaceship. But
a great idea, and like great
idea,
concepts.
But not developed or anything. So yeah, it was a bit disappointing rewatching it. Definitely wasn't as fun as I remember it to be.
Man, I'm going on the opposite camp watching this. I was so surprised by it. Felt like a movie. Now, obviously not effects wise, not anything, but in terms of like it felt nostalgic for then. So for example, like so many callbacks, it was basically like almost The Force Awakens, like a almost beat by beat retelling of Predator 1. I didn't
But with
expect
worse.
you have the CIA who's, kind of playing that role, which is like what Carl Weathers part was with Arnold Schwarzenegger, had the same kind of subversion, and the fact that like the first Predator has that whole mission by them, basically it's Commando at the beginning and then it becomes a horror movie, where this one had a little bit of like, not that it's Lethal Weapon, but this is a cop movie, takes place in LA, and then you have this added element with the Predator, and I was like not kind of sure where they were going with it, but I was like riding with it, and the stuff that I didn't like still felt within that framework of like a, not a cash grab, but like that franchise stuff. So it's like, oh, everyone likes when he says you're an ugly motherfucker, and then they switch it up a little bit. And I think like it's in 2025 we see that so much now and current, and it was just interesting to see that, because I can't think of too many movies from 1990 that was so building off of the success of their previous movie. So it felt like a blockbuster movie, and in the sense that it wasn't great for me, like it wasn't like, oh man, this is a unbelievable movie, but I could totally buy it as a summer blockbuster sequel that you don't have the main people, but you're kind of still giving those nods to the previous movies. And then the cast was like just running into people and seeing them pop up. I do think that they were all kind of underutilized. Like I've seen them used better, but because I haven't seen like Bill Paxton in a long time, because I haven't seen Robert Davi in a while, I was just like, oh shit, at least they're in these movies. So I did have a good time with it. And also I mean, now you would see a xenomorph, all those things, but I was just like, damn, in 1990 that must have been a huge deal, because I still think about the end of Jason Goes to Hell when the Freddy claw comes up. I have never seen anything like that. So to do this, I mean, what is it? How old is this movie?
35 years.
35 years before, everything having a shared universe. I thought it was pretty dope.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
the crazy thing is, I think I read
the second best Predator movie, but that's not saying a lot because of all the horrible
I disagree.
sequels. Yeah.
Oh wow.
I disagree.
Which is
I don't think this is not the second best Predator movie.
Which is
the
second
best?
best?
Prey or Predators?
For me, it's either Prey or the one with the one where they were all on the planet together, like a bunch of different
Predators.
Predators.
Yeah.
I like both of those movies better than this, I think.
Yeah.
All right, so this was written by the writers of the first film, Jim Thomas and John Thomas. It was influenced by the comic Predator: Concrete Jungle, which also took place in a not so distant future. That one was set in New York City. The lightning scene that's probably on your poster, that was supposed to be on the Chrysler Building. That comic also had a heat wave, and it's the Predator hunting amongst gang warfare. First things, like once it started and they were like 1997, I was like, that's weird. Why are you doing this?
And you could tell us the future because there was multiple televisions in all the offices.
Everything. Yeah.
Everything has multiple TVs, so that's how you know it's the future.
I know.
What did you guys think about
those like scopes on their guns?
Yeah.
That's about it. That's the extent of the future. Yeah.
What did you think of that choice, especially considering that we just watched Class of 1999, another 1990 movie? What was Hollywood's views of gangs in LA in the future? They must have been like,
well, this was this would have been around. This was before the LA riots, so this is So I don't know. That's an interesting.
And also, I think I read somewhere too that during the filming of this movie, the Crips actually were out there defending They had hired a bunch of Crips to hire to protect the crew. Like a bunch of the scenes that they filmed out in LA were a real problem for them because local people didn't like all the noise that were being made. People were throwing from alleys. Like I heard it was the alley scene where Danny Glover's talking to the king of the Jamaican gang members
Big
or whatever.
Willie.
Big Willie, that's right. Yeah, Big Willie style. And apparently in that alley, that was like a actual alley in LA. And the people who lived in the building above that alley kept on throwing bags of like feces at them. Like it was crazy because of the noise. So I think I understand the idea of wanting to make it a little bit in the future, because I think at the time the sentiment was there was, a lot of gang violence happening, especially in LA. And it was the beginning of media having like a 24-hour cycle. So all of a sudden, not only were people seeing experiences of gang violence in the news and in movies and stuff, but now there's 24 hours of news. And so I think the future, I think, was just supposed to be so that they could explain why the violence had gotten so bad and make it seem like realistic. Like, this is what 7 years from now, if things keep on the way they are, this is what violence and gang violence might look like. But then I think they didn't think it out that well, because then they were like, oh shit, but we also have to do some futuristic stuff, and our budget's like next to nothing. So all we could do is make sure everybody has a bunch of TVs in their offices.
I feel like they were just biting off of RoboCop. I think they were going for that sort of media satire and the near future and the chaos and everything, but it didn't really find the balance that it definitely didn't do what RoboCop did. But that was a strange choice to just make it like 7 years into the future. It's like, why even bother? But I love the idea of it being in the concrete jungle. But I think if they did it in New York, it would just been more interesting.
Well, the idea was New York initially, I think, too, right?
Yeah,
but I just couldn't afford it. Again, budget. Again, you're going to hear me saying this a lot. I think this was a movie that had great ideas that were let down by budgetary concerns.
So this is the Jason Goes to Manhattan, Takes Manhattan of Predator movies. Okay.
Yeah, they're like, look, we got one Times Square scene. That's the best we can do. Well, to your point, what they did want to do was they wanted to keep it to the same budget as the first Predator, and because of that, they didn't get the same director who blew up off of Die Hard 2. And he was like, yesterday's price isn't today's price.
Not today's price.
They couldn't afford him. Supposedly, there's a couple of different reasons listed why Arnold Schwarzenegger didn't come back in. One was that he wanted more money. Another one was that it was between Predator 2 and Terminator 2, which I think we all think he made the choice with that one.
Oh, I think it's going to go to Cop, too, yeah.
Yeah, but a big part was they wanted to keep the budget the same as the first one, and I assume shooting in the jungle has way different logistics as shooting in a city like LA. Yeah. And there are certain things that feel like they cut a little bit of corners, and I think anytime you're going with like, all right, this is the future, what makes it look like that? I think the movie didn't need that at all, because it just made it a little bit like hokey. And I like the fact that the other ones, like I think what I liked about Prey, and I'm not a huge historian, and what I liked about the first Predator is I like the idea of you dropping the Predator in these different scenarios and what that looks like. And I think once you introduce a future, like maybe in 1990, you don't know, like maybe the future will look like that. But I think, looking at it in hindsight, you obviously, like, it feels a little bit, not what the future is, obviously. And I don't know, I found that really distracting. What did you guys think about like that whole intro and the kind of the subversion of this is like a gang warfare movie, and you're going through Danny Glover's eyes of like this mystery killer who's, in between this gang war? I thought it was kind of dope because of I'll tell you why. The gang war I thought was so over the top, and Danny Glover, like, I like that he kind of is playing the same role, but in this enhanced situation. And then when they get into that room and it turns out all the killers are dead in their skins, I like that it had I was watching I think it was Red Letter Media and review of it, and they kind of compared it to From Dusk Till Dawn, or like a kind of like what Sinners did. Like you feel like you're watching one thing, and then it kind of has this other genre, bumping up against it. And I thought that was like the first indication for me. Clearly, according to you guys, looks like it did not play out well. Carlos, what did you think?
So the first introduction we get to Danny Glover is him barreling down to the shootout in a car, crashes the car for no apparent reason, just other than to show that he's a badass, right? Pops out of the car, right? And and then I think one thing that they did that was really smart with Danny Glover is I think at a certain point they realized that he is by no means a graceful person. So in later on the fight sequences, you don't really see him doing a whole lot of athletic things, right? It's a lot of like him scooching on the side of a building, slowly crawling down, because in the very beginning they tried, I think, to set him off to be this like Rambo. I'm not sure which one is Riggs and which one is more talk, but kind of make him the other one, right? And it's very clear that he's not built for it. He's like kicking in the door, like bringing his arm out, and he's like aiming both ways.
The actor or the character?
I think
He's
the
like, yes.
yes, right, right. Like he's just
Yeah.
kind of bumbling around, and they
Yeah.
could tell immediately that he's not going to be that kind of actor. So it didn't sell it. It was a little over the top. Again, just him smashing through. But to your point about that first sequence, where the drug dealers kind of all get killed, I think this is again my first example of saying that where the budget. I remembered in my head that I was going to see those drug dealers get killed by the predator. Now,
Mhm.
watching the rest of it, I realized that the scene I was thinking about were the Jamaicans.
Mhm.
But again, so you're like, all right, cool. This is a shootout. The cops clearly can't control these drug dealers, and now they're all like suiting up. And the predator's gonna come and mess it all up. This is gonna be crazy, and you don't see it, right? You see
Mhm.
the aftermath. And again, I think it's show don't tell, and in this instance they're telling you what happened, but they don't really like show it happening. And to me it reeked of, we've already got a scene with the predator killing a bunch of drug dealer gangsters. We don't have enough in the budget to do this again, so we're just
Mhm.
going to have the thing, have him drop through the ceiling and then show you the aftermath. And I was really let down when I saw that that's where they were going to play it in that scene.
Yeah, the
Yeah, I was
opening.
surprised.
I think the opening doesn't do Danny Glover any favors. It doesn't really set him up. I wasn't I was rewatching this. I'm like, are they trying to set him up as this badass cop, or because he
Yeah,
comes
yeah.
across as very bumbling, nervous, just not heroic. And I don't know if that's what the director
The
was
script.
intending and trying to make him an underdog, or that's the whole thing. When I'm watching the movie, I'm just like, how is this character supposed to, come
Beat a
across?
predator.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And yeah,
It's like
so
Ace Ventura
and
fucking
I
killed the
know, I think
predator. Like,
obviously, I'm sure Stephen Hopkins was trying to do something different, but it's also one of those things in a sequel where you want to be a little bit different, but you can't stray too far away from the blueprint, and this one kind of does. But yeah, I thought maybe if it was Carl Weathers, and obviously he died in the first one, but I remember watching Action
I'm his
Jackson,
brother,
which
Chuck
had a similar
Weathers.
opening, if I remember, where they're kind of setting him up to be like the badass cop, the rogue cop,
Mhm.
and but yeah, I just thought that it was Danny Glover just like totally miscast, and I couldn't buy him in the role.
Yeah, I think it was an interesting choice because it seemed like to me that they were setting him up as a detective because there is
Mhm.
like a mystery to the movie that we know, right?
Which
Like
is a big
You know
problem.
the answer.
Which is like what you don't do if the
well, I
audience
don't
is
know.
like 3 steps ahead of the characters in the film.
Well, I mean, I think like when you see, I mean, because that's kind of the case in Predator, the first one, right? Like we know it's called Predator, and I think with this one being part two, it's like yeah, it's a little bit ahead, and they don't show the Predator for a while, but I think like getting to that because that's why I didn't really interpret him as like an action hero until kind of towards the end, because it's really him always like a step behind, and they're not even getting killed by the Predator. It's like oh, who's killing these gang people? How did he get past them? So I didn't, aside from that opening and the ending, I didn't think that they were really trying to have him be a replacement for Arnold Schwarzenegger. But to the point of that, I was a lot let down by how much happens off camera, even to the point when what the Predator looks like. Even like when Bill Paxton dies, that's like 45, 50 minutes into the
Mhm.
movie. And it's another cutaway, and then you just see like his golf ball like moving,
Mhm.
and it was like for the first like 5 minutes or 10 minutes or where you still want to tease it, but I'm gonna start to need to see some like people getting skinned and not just the aftermath and cutaways of
Yeah, I mean, even
everything.
even that scene, even when they finally do give you the payoff of watching the Predator take out a bunch of ridiculously dressed Jamaican gangsters, WWF inspired outfits on these guys with the gold pants and the fringes,
Mhm.
right? Initially, what it kind of boils down to is a lot of shots of the Predator landing somewhere, a bunch of gangsters shooting kind of in the air. You see the thermal vision, and then you hear a scream. You
Mhm.
really don't see him messing them up that much. The coolest, I think, part of that scene were the introduction of that net thing, which was cool, but again, you see it for like a second, and
Mhm.
then that other scene where he throws the Xena warrior princess chakra, the frisbee thing,
Yeah.
spins
Mhm.
around and comes back. Like those are shots where you actually see something happen.
Mhm.
And even when it gets used a couple of times later, you don't. It's just like reaction shots. And again, I know the concept. I know, you don't actually see in Psycho the knife stabbing into to Janet Leigh in your brain. But I don't think that's what this was here. I think it was like, we don't have the special effects to show this guy get cut in half. So we'll just leave it to the audience. And again, I think if they had that extra budget, if they would have showed me instead of telling me, I think it would have been a much better film for it.
And you
Yeah, I
need
was
that
surprised.
in a sequel. You need to be more explicit and bigger and badder. Because looking back at the first one, I don't remember. You don't really see the Predator like do his. I don't remember him like doing his thing. He would blow people's heads off and stuff, but it wasn't like super graphic. But I think a sequel, you know what he looks like. You know a lot of. You need more. You need more shock value. You need more action.
Yeah, and it seems like they did expand in terms of, because the body count in the first one isn't that high. I mean, it's really like almost like a haunted house movie, right? Like there's 7-8 people, one by one they get clipped. Where this one, it's like, all right, he's going up against whole gangs, but the thing is, it's like, but you're kind of not seeing it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm a little bit torn because I get it. Because that, I feel like that does lean into the limitations if you're doing a cop story, right? Like, generally a detective story, they are a step behind. So you're like 7, you don't see anyone getting killed until like the end because they're always like investigating a crime scene. And that's kind of what they were doing with this one. So where it's like, 8 people dead here and the Predator has killed all of these people, but it is a Predator movie and you do want to see him do cool stuff, not just a bunch of skinned people, especially for a movie that had a few different set pieces for an hour and 45 minutes. You have like the subway scene, you have the gang murders, you have the rooftop chase, the slaughterhouse fight. And speaking of the slaughterhouse fight, what did you guys think about that when they had I thought it was a kind of cool use because the Predator's main thing is a thermal vision, and they set that up to like them trying to outsmart him but him also outsmarting them. What did you think about that in the slaughterhouse?
No, that's a very cool scene, visually and also just the concept of it. But yeah, it just becomes like Looney Tunes when he kills who is he kill in the slaughterhouse? Is it Bill Paxton? Gary Busey? Like when he's slicing through the carcasses and stuff. Okay, yeah, it just feels like kind of goofy at the end. But I thought they could have built up some tension. It could have been like that scene in Aliens with the tracker thing.
Okay, listen again. Concept dope. We've got him cornered. We've studied him. We're gonna lay a trap for the person that usually has the trap. The idea of the dust, right, has a really cool visual effect to it. The blue lights. Flashlights looking like lasers. That whole concept was, I think, such a great idea. And even though I think its execution failed, just based on the coolness of the concept, it's still pretty cool. For me, it's the set piece of the entire movie. But at a certain point, something hit me where Danny Glover's like, "Get them out of there! They're coming around!" And it just hit me to Aliens, to that scene in Aliens. And then all of a sudden, no matter how good it is, it's almost not fair.
Aliens. Yeah,
it's not going to be that scene in Aliens, and it's not going to be that fair. Although I will say, Danny Glover in that scene in the beginning of it pulls off one of the coolest scenes ever when he's like, "Fuck it, I got to go out there and like save them," and he starts walking out and he goes like this, and then as soon as the guy starts, he just punches both of them in the face. That was pretty awesome. But then again, you're right. It kind of goes into like Looney Tunes mode towards the end where like Gary Busey takes a rocket to the chest and somehow he's like a little burned and he's like, "I'm gonna save your ass," and then he catches the chakra thing, but you don't actually see him get cut. You just see like
his
the
body
feet,
drop.
And even furthermore, like as that progresses, I understand this is going to be the final kind of progress to the end of the movie, but there's just plot wise, it doesn't make sense to me. So they have that huge fight in the meatpacking, and I guess if he's using that meatpacking thing, in that area, it makes sense that that his ship would be nearby. I guess to some degree, but all of a sudden, they get into a chase. They're on the rooftop of a building. The Predator loses his arm, grabs onto a pole that just happens to bring him across to another building. That building just happens to be above where his spaceship is. Right? And so if his spaceship is right downstairs, why did he spend 10 minutes in the bathroom of this old lady putting together this thing to like clean his arm? He could just go to sickbay down there. He runs to an elevator shaft. right underneath the elevator shaft is just happens to be where the spaceship is, right? And how did it get down there? Like this whole sequence is such a cool concept, but like in practice and in plot, it just didn't make sense to me, and I just left a bad taste in my mouth like the whole way through.
Yeah, there was some things that looked like they almost had like a checklist of things that you could interact with the city. That was my main beef with the subway. Like I think that idea is dope for a metropolitan movie, but then you want to talk about like Looney Tunes. Everyone having like once all the commuters pulled out their guns, I was like, this is ridiculous.
That was a RoboCop scene, I think, idea.
Yeah, because at first, and I think that's what you get from that, like in the future, everyone, like you take those liberties, and there were certain moments like that where it just kept taking me out of the reality of that, because when you put him in a city, like I want to see him in a city that I could live in, you know what I mean? Not this like super fictive, unless you're completely going that route, which RoboCop like does.
Blade
right?
Runner
Like RoboCop is from beginning to end is like, here's a possible future with these things implemented, and what does that mean as a commentary on the country, the police force, all of these different themes. The Predator was never that, in terms of the first one. It wasn't, it has some commentary on like, the military
guerrilla
in South and
warfare.
Central America, but not to the extent of, what is society, what's society's reaction to gang violence in a city
jungle.
that's overrun. Yeah. And it was like, I don't know. I thought, I get the parallels of trying to compare two war zones, like, then even Danny Glover, not Donald Glover. Even Danny Glover's like,
the second film just falls into parody, like scenes like that on the subway. It's like ridiculous, and that's why I think about like Jason Takes Manhattan, where it's meant to be ridiculous, and they embrace the silliness of it. Where this one, you're supposed to be scared, you're supposed to buy into the somewhat believability of it, and then you get like these ridiculous scenes of Predator running amok on the LA subway station. And then at the end, of course, it just goes off the rails, which it's funny because I loved it as a kid, but then watching it now, I'm just like, oh God, I'm rolling my eyes, because I'm like, this is so silly at this point. And even by the time he gets into the spaceship and that does nothing either, because the movie's over already. That could have been like a cutscene at the end, end credit scene.
Why give him the gun and then not tell him, hey, you may want to get off this spaceship because it's about to fly? What was the point of giving him the gun and then still like leave him to his own death?
Like, yeah.
And then on the subway too.
See, that should have been end credit scene. If anything.
Yeah, I mean, like in the subway too, the idea of being trapped, because I can relate to that. I take the subway every single day, and so the idea of me minding my business on my way home from a long day of work, and then the lights go out and everybody's freaking out. He's already invisible, now the lights go out, and now there's just something tearing people apart. Like that whole idea, the lights that kind of flash as it runs through the tunnel, all of that visually, great concept, great idea, but in practice it's just a bunch of people, reaction shots of people flying away.
Well, it goes against the whole concept of Predator. He's supposed to be a hunter.
Why would he do that either?
Yeah,
too? Like,
he's
who was
supposed
he
to be a
after?
hunter, and he's using
Bill
stealth
Paxton?
to attack his prey. You don't like run into like a busy subway train and start cutting people up.
At one point, Bill Paxton is in the one car in the back, heroically trying to take out the Predator, and everybody else is running towards the front of their cars. I thought they were going to do something where, like, they maybe separate the cars or something so that, keep the Predator at bay, which that never happens. But at one point, the Predator's invisible, and he's sitting, and Bill Paxton's there, like, back against the wall, shooting through the aisle. But the Predator's invisible, so actually you can see right.
It looks like he's shooting towards the passengers.
It looks like he's shooting the passengers in the back, right? And so a lot of these things are like, I know I'm supposed to be enthralled by how cool this whole setup is, but I'm sitting there just laughing, like, all right, I guess if I kill one of these people, I kill one of these people, I guess.
If he dies, he dies. Yeah, and even that one, like, why did everyone need it? Because you could have done some stuff where, like, I did like the moment where he almost killed the cop from Homegirl from The Running Man. But
Maria Conchita Alonso.
Yeah, but he's like, I like all the moments. Yeah, I love all. Oh my god, yeah, I love the the honor stuff, you know, where he's like, you know, he doesn't kill people unarmed. But for that, that was like a perfect time to like show that, you know, if you have like some where let's say it's just those 4 gang members and the cops and everyone else is innocent, but then everyone had guns, so he was just like slaughtering everyone. So it kind of, they set up that like honor system, but then they also gave a reason why it wasn't in practice really, and it like kind of undercut itself.
Was he after Bill Paxton? Was he after American? Like, why was he on the subway? Did they just happen to be on the car that he was?
I don't remember.
He decided
now.
to attack.
That's the problem. That's why it's just like a bunch of disjointed.
Why was he at the? Why was he at the graveyard?
Well, that's my issue with the movie. It's like all the action, all these set pieces are kind of like you're not sure what the motivation was, right? I forgot. I saw this a couple of weeks ago, but I don't remember why he killed all the drug dealers. I don't know why he just, you know, first movie you could get away with it. But the second movie, I think you kind of need because he doesn't really have an objective. The Predator, that is, for everything he's doing in the film. I mean, I understand you're hunting, but okay, you've done your thing. Get the hell out. And like in the first movie, it was like, okay, Schwarzenegger is like is a worthy opponent, and I'm going to kick his ass. I'm going to kill him. But in this movie,
and they all were,
yeah,
right. Like I thought that was kind of the premise. Like, this is, and that's kind of what was it? Predators did, right? Like they were supposed to be the baddest people on Earth, sent somewhere else. And
same idea with the cartoon one, by the way. Also, it's like it's cool, and it adds to the lore. All of the stuff that we're talking about. Do yourself a favor and watch it, man. It's dope.
He's like, there's a whole short story of why he takes the train. Okay. Answering all the questions. But like, it just there was some stuff that I really liked, the expansion of lore, but then they would just show like there wasn't a consistency, like a consistent thread through it. So for example, you see one and he's like, you know, the Predator is buffing the skull, and you're like, oh, okay, he buffs skulls to make, you know, to take trophies of everyone he kills.
That's the only skull.
Nope, just the one.
That's the only one. And it was Ruben Blades, who is a salsa multi-platinum legendary artist. And I was a little disappointed how they did him dirty, because he was the only one died begging for his life. Which is messed up. Also, I heard a funny story. I guess I don't know if it was Extra or Entertainment Tonight. They were doing an interview from the set of Predator 2. Ruben Blades was doing the interview, and I guess the director didn't realize that they were filming an interview, and like he ran over and like scolded him, telling him like, stop wasting time, to like get back on set. And you know, it happened live on air. And so like it was so awkward that I guess the next week they had to apologize, and from that point on, Extra never aired live interviews.
To be fair, that is a crazy move.
That is, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got one of your lead actors and the director's coming up to them just being a dick for no reason.
Yeah. You know what? When I saw him, I was like, damn, where's he from? And
Walking Dead?
No, one of my favorite comedies, The Super, with Joe Pesci.
Oh, wow, okay.
He's great in it. And he's also in Life with Mikey. With
I mean,
Michael
you
J.
see
Fox.
him, like, he's done a bunch of like movies. He's most recently been in Walking Dead. He's like one of the major characters. That guy, multi-platinum. We're talking 20, 30 million albums. So like not just a few. He's like on some like Michael Jackson of
bigger than David Hasselhoff
level.
In Germany.
Yeah,
way bigger.
So you know what I thought was a little strange? Robert Paxton in that train scene takes out the machete and does nothing, but Danny Glover full on sword fight with the Predator at the end of this movie. Yeah, like that I did not see coming. And
that's the problem. They never set him up that he can do any of this shit.
Fairy dust.
And his outfit is straight up ridiculous, because there's continuously moments that like highlight it. So like there's the part where it's just like a close up of his his pants, like as he's walking, and his suit is so big that it's and baggy. It looks like you ever watch the Chicago Bulls games in the 90s, like when like black people just wore huge suits back in the day.
Yeah.
Danny Glover is running through the city in like the most oversized suit. It's out of control.
His pants are up to his nipples.
Yeah,
He goes pants
when
all the
you
way.
hear that, you can't unsee it every time you watch it.
Yo, it's crazy.
Just,
And
yeah,
then
the
they're trying to do the
wardrobe.
thing.
His wardrobe's terrible. He's got that spicy mustard
He's got the hat.
shirt.
He's got the fedora all the time.
Yeah.
There was the gratuitous topless sequence where he had to take off his shirt in the police the station.
Oh yeah.
And then
Hot, man.
what's it? Bill Paxton. It was so hot that Bill Paxton's had sweat stains on the outside of his jacket.
The blazer.
Like,
yeah.
The blazer had fucking
Yeah.
he had sweat stains. Like, bro, take it off.
Crazy.
I
When
know.
you said-
I know this was a Joel Silver production, and I think Danny Glover's probably hot off of Lethal Weapon 2 at the time.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but yeah, just what a strange decision to make of casting him in this film.
Well, one
Well,
of the
there
things
was
that I
some
saw
question
was they were talking about he was like kind of on the fence about it, but felt, I don't know if it was him, but felt like, you know, there's not a lot of like black leads for these kind of movies. And I'm kind of like, damn, that is true. But you know what's nuts? Even after rewatching this, I would never like put him high. Like, you know who I put high? Who is it? LL Cool J, who lived into the end of a horror movie. He's like the first.
Oh, Shark
Halloween,
movie. Yeah.
And
Into
the Halloween,
deep- not
and the
into deep,
Halloween,
the-
Halloween H2O. Yeah, he survived.
Yeah,
that one.
so you know you gotta put some respect on Danny Glover's name. But you know when you were talking about the going topless, I thought you were going to talk about that first scene with Homegirl going absolutely wild. on this guy.
Yeah.
I don't know if
That's,
I'm just inexperienced, but I've never seen anyone going that crazy for that scene.
It's
So
the
that
coke.
was
That's
that
Terry
made me
Wegel,
laugh.
by the way.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna throw that out there. You guys can look her up.
Who was that?
Terry Wegel.
Okay.
All right, Wiggle my
She was a playmate,
Okay.
and then
Got it.
she got into a really bad car accident, I think, and wound up. It's a
That
long
sounds
story.
like
Just look
every other playmate story. Yeah.
Tale as old as time.
Yeah.
And that's backstory that's also spoken about in the new Predator movie. That's one of the
her up.
anthology
The
stories.
animated, yeah.
Yeah. Who
So,
is
the
she? Where
cast-
did she come from? Yeah.
Yeah, the cast is pretty stacked. We got Danny Glover, Gary Busey, Maria Conchita Alonso from I forgot that she was in McBain. I just
McBain,
kept-
yep.
But I remember when we were
She
doing
played the
McBain, I
same
was like,
character.
oh,
She played the same character in all 3 movies. Yeah.
yeah. We got Bill Paxton, Robert Davi, Adam Baldwin. We talked about Danny Glover. What did you guys think about Gary Busey in this?
Lions and tigers. and
Gary
bears.
Busey
Oh, hi.
being Gary Busey. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no, but
There's-
this was the first thing he did after the accident.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
this was
This is
before
the
it became
first
a meme,
post-accident.
obviously. But
Yeah.
yeah, I thought, he did it's like what he has 2 scenes, 3 scenes in the movie, so he does his job. It's serviceable.
Totally underutilized Bill Paxton, who
Yes.
is
Yeah.
Awesome
He's,
as
he's
always.
in a different movie. He's acting like he's in a different film.
Yeah.
But I thought Gary Busey. I thought you needed someone with a little bit with more gravitas. Again, we talk about Michael
They had
Ironside a
somebody
lot.
else.
That should have been played by Michael Ironside.
Oh,
that
who did
role.
they have? Oh, the dude from Third Rock from the Sun. Oh man, the comments if we had any would be going crazy right now. I gotta look him up. It was they were looking for somebody that had a little bit more gravitas. What's this guy's name?
for the Gary Busey role.
John Lithgow.
Oh, okay.
John Lithgow.
Damn, he would have been great.
I think he would have been, yeah.
I
But
mean,
again,
they
it wasn't
they
like there
could've
was so
just-
much.
They could have just swapped Robert Davi because I
Yeah.
feel
Yeah,
like
yeah.
he had that. Really underutilized. Like he was in like half a scene pretty much. And I remember when because at the beginning, like I forgot all about this movie and I was like, oh man, I'm looking forward to see him doing some stuff. And he was like, all right, I'll see you later.
And then at one point, Danny Glover just pops off on him for no reason. Like he just gets him inside, pulls him up against the thing. I'll kick your ass. And I'm just like, all right, man. Like this tension hadn't been built up really before that. It just seemed the plot, man.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, man.
And also, you know who I was surprised to see? Adam Baldwin from Chuck. From Chuck fame in there.
Yep.
That was weird. I thought this was really interesting. In 2020, Stephen Hopkins revealed that he met with Steven Seagal for the lead role in the film. Seagal wanted to play the
Psychologist?
character as a CIA psychiatrist who knew martial arts. Hopkins
love
passed
that.
on casting him, wanting the character to be an average Joe type, which also I think might have missed the mark a little bit. Hopkins had also envisioned Patrick Swayze playing the part, who I think was injured on Roadhouse
Okay.
so
right
he
before it. Yeah.
didn't. But all right, what do you guys think about Steven Seagal's Predator 2? Better
Oh
film
man,
or worse film?
Worse.
dude,
Worse.
trying
Easily.
to attack the predator with martial arts,
Yes.
especially Aikido of all
Aikido,
things,
yes.
which like really requires you to get up and close and personal.
Yeah.
Like, yo, if I see anybody put the predator in the armbar, I'm turning the
And
movie
Steven
off
Seagal never
immediately.
takes punches, so he would just like
Imagine him
kick the
trying
predator's
to
ass.
slide
Yeah.
down the side of that building
Yeah.
with his
Yeah,
big
yeah.
ass.
You know what I find it to start to become like a running theme? The amount of Steven Seagal could have potentially been in this movie, but
Did it-
wasn't, and the movie's a lot better for it. This movie was directed by Stephen Hopkins, whose resume was music videos, but he just came off of Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Child. Went on to
Which is
do
terrible.
movies like Judgment Night, Ghost in the Darkness, Lost in Space. Did some TV stuff like Tales from the Crypt, Californication, and Carlos Is For You, 24. And
There's no
this
time.
and this movie is on top of having the same budget of a movie a few years earlier, Predator. This movie was written in 3 weeks, filmed in 4 weeks, and edited in 4 weeks.
weeks.
What'd you guys think about the direction of this, Jam?
Not good.
Carlos. Oh, tell you.
Not good. But unfortunately, yeah, Stephen Hopkins. It's amazing how many films he's done. But Judgment Night, I thought, was probably the best of all the films that I've seen of his, and I've seen, I think,
Ghost
most
in
of
the Darkness
those.
is good. All right,
I didn't see that
Val
one.
Kilmer?
I did see like Blown Away, which I think he did with Jeff Bridges.
Were you
But
blown
yeah,
away
I
by
thought
it?
like it's funny because he came off of Nightmare on Elm Street, and I thought Predator 2 needed more of a horror element the way the first film had, and this one was just sort of couldn't tell it was trying to be a farce, or I just didn't understand like what he was trying to do with this film. Was he trying to like make a statement about something? It certainly wasn't a straightforward action movie because it takes a lot of just weird left turns. But I think you needed a more seasoned director, and you put John McTiernan side by side with Stephen Hopkins. It's
Shane Black.
obviously you're gonna pale in comparison.
I mean, listen, I think that, like I said it before and I'll say it again, I think this movie had some really great ideas, some great concepts, and it does some really great things. Every single time, every little bit of the like trivia that I kind of looked at while watching this movie all kind of spoke back to the budget. Again, Arnold Schwarzenegger, because of the budget. This couldn't be not filmed in New York because of the budget. So certain special effects for some of the weapons had to be cut down because of the budget. I think that a better director would have been able to do more with less. Conversely, if you would have given him a little bit more, I think he could have done more. So I think that I don't put all of the weight on him. I think you give someone who's a rather new director these types of constraints, and this is what you're going to get. I wish it would have been a more seasoned director, or they would have given him more budget. I think either of which would have made this way better.
I don't know. I think I'm going to give it a good pass in the sense that I feel like they got him for this movie without them knowing what Predator would become. So, for example, like if you stack this up against, Class of 1999, which has a lot of parallels between other movies that were doing this kind of, in 8 years from now, in 9 years from now, this is a sci-fi movie. I think that this is much better than those. I think it has like a really much more star-studded cast where I'm sure a lot of that budget came from that. Like you take a Class of 1999, there's like 2 stars in the movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's
Pam
also
Grier should have been the lead of Predator 2. How about that?
I won't be
That would have been
Pam
awesome.
Segal.
Yes.
But I think like in terms of the pedigree of those kind of movies, I think this is much better than those. I think it's more likely that we're looking at it as this huge franchise that it's become. And it's tough to be like, yeah, it's not Predators, it's not, Prey, it's not this, with all the Dark Horse comics and the expansive lore and things like that. Because before this movie is probably single-handedly the one that really expanded the lore. By the end of the first Predator, you don't know shit about the Predator other than what he looks like, and he can turn invisible and has some sort of stuff. I mean, this movie added so much lore in terms of like the fact that there's multiple versions of them, that they keep trophies, that apparently they travel through space. And I thought some of that stuff was done as like a kind of show don't tell in that degree of like, you see him with the trophies, you seen him with the xenomorph. They give him the gun, and you know, it's like, oh, 17, 19. It's like, oh, okay, they've been doing this for a while. So I think some of the stuff that we're talking about is in the movie, but there is so much telling, not showing, that it's, you know, it's the balance isn't as strong. But I do think
changed
that
my mind. No, but no, I do give it props for that, because that the last couple minutes that basically set up the entire franchise.
I mean, but let's also not forget the fact that this movie also almost killed the franchise, because it did so terribly review-wise and monetarily that we don't see the Predator again until I think AVP.
Yeah, but I mean,
which
how
was like
often
10, 12 years later.
Yeah, but I think, like, I do wonder, I mean, the fact that they made a sequel, number one, like, did they know that it would be a kind of franchise? I was reading that they were waiting to see the reception of the comic before even greenlighting this one, and the first one was a hit, you know? So I think that there's like, I don't know. I mean, based on this, it doesn't seem like they went into this being like, yeah, we're going to be still making these movies in 20 years for Predator, which I think is, it didn't kill it. Like, I mean, you know, I'm thinking of like a franchise killer of like a Joel Schumacher, Batman and Robin, where it's like, this is so bad that, you know, you're not even going to want to continue it. But I just feel like this movie was set up to be something else.
Terminator,
and
Dark Fate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, if you think about his last movie, the director's last movie, if it was Nightmare on Elm Street 5, I think that might have almost killed that franchise too. It was like a really bad.
Yeah, because after that one, they said, "Oh, we're gonna kill Freddy off. It's over." Yeah,
Freddy's Dead was the next one after that. So like, yo, this guy's going around here. If you want to kill your franchise,
franchise
it's getting worse.
Predator.
You know, you got to see.
So one of those mysteries in Hollywood.
So overall, I liked the familiar elements from the first movie, which includes the fucking theme is so dope by Alan Silvestri of Back to the Future, the Avengers theme, the Abyss, Judge Dredd. Anything to say about the music?
No. So I think my favorite part of the music was the stuff from the first movie, right? The themes that were present in the first movie. So.
Yeah, and like the one tying thread other than the Predator, every time I heard it, I was like, yeah, it's Predator, God damn it. What was your favorite scene of the movie? Mine was it was the opening. I'm a big fan of genres meeting each other. And I just like the setting up of you're watching this movie. I think it set itself up as being ridiculous. I
think driving with the window with the door open. Right?
Yeah,
like,
that. But I think it matched the ridiculous. Like, I think that two things that movies don't generally get right: television in movies, aside from like RoboCop. Like, anytime it's like a news or like, you know, they do things, I always feel like it's a little cheesy. And gangs, like, I always feel like they go so outlandish with gangs in movies. It's like there's no line in between like the Warriors and like, you know, Blood in, Blood out kind of. And this one, it was just like such a ridiculous portrayal of them that I thought Danny Glover's what he was doing, I was like, all right, at least this is as ridiculous as this, you know, this other stuff. But
and
I really
shout out to the Mexican gang too, because those outfits were wild.
Oh, 100%. And
I
like dude just
gold pants,
sniffing coke and then slapping it on his gunshot.
Well, I think there's a theme in the 80s in film of the kind of the xenophobia that was there, where it was always about othering the enemy. It was always like these foreigners or these people that don't belong in the country, whether it's you know, Avenging Force or canon films, like the way they depicted Arabs and stuff. So I think, you know, it's definitely a snapshot of its time, the way they sort of portray minorities and stuff.
Jamaicans don't believe in voodoo.
Those are Haitians.
But that's the thing, you know. Yeah.
And this guy's a Rastafarian.
But that's the
He's
thing.
got the
Everyone's
dreads.
kind of blended together. Yeah.
But they did get right when they pull up in the car, just filled with weed. Tully, what was your favorite scene in the movie?
I liked. I mean, I liked the ending because it's so silly with like Danny Glover hanging off the drain. It just like again, it's Looney Tunes, you know, just hanging off the drain pipe. The fucking predator in a bathroom, like running through the apartment, you know, with the old couple in there.
Yeah. What was his name? He's like, someone's in the bathroom.
Yeah.
It's like
well, he had a funny
that's
name,
what I
Charlie or
mean.
something.
Where
Yeah.
it's like if the whole movie was like this, maybe
I'm a
I
cop.
would have appreciated it as
He
the
doesn't give a
comedy. But it's like this is the third act of a movie, and you're inserting all these like ridiculous jokes. It just breaks away the tension. But I do like it because of it's just like it's just gonzo-ness. It's just like what you know what like we're just gonna make it entertaining. I don't give a fuck about tone or consistency.
How about you, Carlos?
So I've got two answers for this. One's a real answer, and one's just kind of a joke answer. Where the real answer I think is the meat the meat cooler scene, just visually, conceptually, aesthetically. It's firing on all cylinders. At this point, you're already bought in. This is kind of the setup. Finally, we're gonna get our comeuppance on the Predator. And so I really enjoyed it. It was one of the scenes that I said that I remembered. So there's that. Kind of a little less seriously is the scene in the alleyway between Danny Glover and King Willie. Just because I don't know, just something about the smoke coming out. Big Willie is chewing up the scenery with his like Danny Glover's going there for like an actual clue on how to solve this mystery, and all he's getting from King Willie is the afterlife. You know, like it's a demon.
Rolling
You
bones.
go on now. He's rolling the bones or whatever, and then like the Predator was waiting for Danny Glover to leave just to catch this dude alone, and then that final. By the way, I would also say that prosthetic head of King Willie, one of the most realistic prosthetic head. Like normally, whenever you see them do like a prosthetic head for someone who just died, you can always kind of tell it looks like a dummy.
Yeah.
Like a little bit, I can always tell, but this particular one was fantastic. It looked real. So I think
feel
that's
like
my
that's
second.
why they used it for that transition, because that was a
was a
dope,
good
like, you know, where he starts screaming and then it just cuts to the head. It was like they were like, "Yo, get close up on that."
yeah. Because for a millisecond you're thinking you're gonna see him scream, like eyes are gonna move or something, because it looks that real. So I just think as a secondary like comical, like that scene of like how disappointed Danny Glover must have been for like going through all that trouble to talk to this guy, and all this numbnuts has to tell me is the afterlife.
Yeah. Terrible. Well, this movie was not well received by a lot of people. On Rotten Tomatoes, the critic score is a 29%. The audience score is a 44%. Letterboxd 2.9 out of 5. This is what I was most surprised with, because I feel like IMDb is more like critical than usual. 6.3 out of 10. I thought it would be way lower. So the critics basically had it like mixed to negative, and a friend of the show, Roger Ebert, was not impressed, giving it 2 stars. He said, "Since the Predator is imaginary, but the people who made the film are not, Predator 2 speaks sadly of their own lack of curiosity and imagination.
Wow.
All they can give us in the way of an alien is a street mugger with intestines for a face, pincers around his mouth, and an Afro-style braided hairdo. The creature in this movie is a work of subtle racism. Subliminal clues are slipped in to encourage us to subconsciously connect the menace with black males." I did not get that take.
Based
from
Roger Ebert.
Roger Ebert, man. This is a Rorschach test.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yo, that
Predator
was the
2.
wokest shit I have ever heard from Roger Ebert. Holy shit. I didn't even see it. When Roger Ebert's putting me on to the clear racism in something, that's when I got to take a moment.
Ebert's like,
and
right on.
But you notice he didn't say anything about the plight of my Latinos.
Yeah. He was like, that's just the realism.
He kept on grabbing his little. Come on, Ruben Blades, don't die like
he was
that.
like
Please,
woke before that was a thing. Yeah.
If he saw the trailer for this new one, his head would explode. Dude with the dreads, Dreadator, he would go crazy.
Dreadator, I like that.
We're gonna go to the streets and see what Letterboxd says. Rat Arse says shit film, shit effects. Danny Glover walks around like he's shit himself. Enjoy, people. Half a star.
I do agree that Danny Glover looks like he just like pooped his pants all the time.
I don't know if it's the size of them, but that's totally possible.
No, just the way
Chase
he's so
says,
like nervous and jittery. He's just like it. Just that's how I get when I poop my pants. I just want to like, get the hell out of there.
Quite often,
Yeah.
I might say.
that's going to be a whole other episode. We dive in. And Chase says, no one is good, no one is bad, everyone is just either in the game or out. A tacky, over-the-top, offensive masterpiece of a sequel. At first, it barely resembles its perfect predecessor, but the more you watch, the more it feels very much on the same wavelength. Just with an equally interesting but wildly different cast. A hilarious and barely in the future setting, and a Danny Glover performance that is incredibly underrated, just like his whole damn career. Long live Predator 2, 5 out of 5.
Wow. Well, I know this film has its fans. I mean, I'll grant you that. There's people online,
Dash is
especially
one of them.
that love it.
Yeah. I'm out of here. So now we're gonna go to us. What do we think about this movie? Telly.
I'll give this 2 broken sinks used for medical, emergencies out of 5.
When there's a medical bay right downstairs,
Right.
literally 30
I
seconds
did
away.
like that. I forgot to mention. I did like that scene. I just like anytime the Predator is patching himself up.
Yeah, no, it's a great concept. It's a great concept.
I love,
and this
I
one,
love
like the
those
image of
scenes,
it too.
when he's doing his
Like
survivalist
the image
shit,
of him, like
there should be more of that.
scoping
Yeah.
on top of like the tiny bathroom. He's like so big in the bathroom. He's just tearing apart like the tile.
Yeah.
But again, sick bay, like an actual spaceship sick bay, is downstairs 30 seconds
He
away.
has to get there, and Danny Glover's in his way.
Yeah.
Do you blame him? He's like, I don't want
Fair
to
enough.
run any
So I'm going to
risks.
use sheetrock to save.
Dash,
With a
that
little
bit of
should have been the
lube.
trailer. Danny Glover is in his way.
I know,
Yeah.
it's reverse. It's
Yeah.
just Danny Glover is actually the villain in the new Predator movie with all the others. Carlos would say you.
I'm going to say, I think I probably agree with Telly's score of 2, but I don't want to be in line with Roger Ebert because screw him. And also because it's Predator, it gets an extra little bump. So I'm going to go 2.5 lions and tigers and bears. Oh my. Out of 5.
Well, he rates his 2 out of 4, right? That's that's Roger Ebert's. But you can still give it a 2.5.
Yeah.
You don't want to
2
be
out of
like
5.
Telly.
2.5.
Okay, go.
I don't want to be like that. Yeah, so 2.5 out of 5. I had. It's not. It didn't offend me at all.
I'm gonna go with the highest, but not super high score. I did have fun with it. I really respect what it brought to it because I watched Predator a lot, the first one, and I've seen the subsequent ones after, and I just assumed a lot came from like the comics or not knowing how much was in this particular one. And this one did a lot of heavy lifting of a franchise that would still rock 30 years later. So I'm going to give this 3 crushed Bill Paxton balls out of 5. I had a good time with it.
Rest in
You know,
peace,
I think
Bill Paxton.
a cool thing that that I saw when looking at some of the trivia too is that like a lot of that lore stuff that was put in there was there was no plan behind it. It was just like the Ray Winston guy who team member who was like who was it?
Stan Winston?
Stan Winston, sorry.
Special effects?
The special effects. One of the guys was like, "Hey man, it'd be cool if we put a xenomorph head here." There was no like plan to make this part of the lore. It was just kind of like, "Oh, this would be cool," and like fans ran with it, which is awesome.
Yeah,
right? Because like we have some ownership in it. So I agree with you. Like a lot of so many cool concepts, man. So many cool ideas. I just wish they executed better.
Shout out to Predator 2. So that's Predator 2, and we're going to kick this over to Carlos to tell us what we're watching for the next episode. Carlos.
So I had a plan for what we were going to watch for the next pod, and then earlier today, watching television, randomly flipping through channels, something was on TV, and I was like, man, I want to watch this again. And so I didn't watch it because I didn't want to cheat, but for next week, we will be watching True Lies.
Okay.
Oh, damn!
So
I haven't seen
was
that in that
flipping through
long.
the channels, and then all of a sudden, it's the intro sequence where he's like infiltrating a ball, like a gala or whatever. Mwah.
Yeah,
I was watching. I'm like, yo, this is. I gotta.
Oh,
And also,
man.
I think that this movie, check for it, has my favorite of all Arnold Schwarzenegger one-lines. We'll talk.
The second you said True Lies, like 5 popped into my head. But oh man, back to back Bill Paxton.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah. Let's go.
Awesome. So make sure you tune in. I'm excited for that episode because I love True Lies. I haven't seen it in a
Yeah.
while though, so we'll see if it holds up. That's it for Shoot Punch Kick Predator 2. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe for more deep dives into 80s and 90s cinematic violence. I'm Dash, as always, with Carlos and Telly, and we're signing out. See you next time.
Peace.